So, my name is Miles Gardner, and we're going to be summarizing to you basically, this is Biden's magnum opus. This is like the thing he's going to be remembered for. And he's making it huge because, wants to be memorized for something good. So it's the Build Back Better Framework short summary. And so we have the expansion of affordable healthcare, which is like the first key point of the whole thing. We have Carla covering that. Maria, we have covering how the bill strengthens the middle class, which is very important because that's how you spread the wealth. Elizabeth is going to be talking about climate change, which is of course important. We only get one Earth. And I'm going to be covering how the bill fully pays for its historic investments and how it does it pretty easily so. But anyway, so on the expansion of affordable healthcare, we have Carla. And
Okay, so Biden's Build Back Better framework explains healthcare is a right, not a privilege, and Americans should not have to worry about having to pay their treatments or hospital bills. The Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, reduced the number of Americans without insurance by more than 20 million people. The Affordable Care Act improved the nation's healthcare system, but there have been too many cases where Americans continue to struggle to afford healthcare. Around 30 million people were uninsured in 2019, and the coverage under the Affordable Care Act, or the ACA, was too expensive for many. The Build Back Better framework will expand access to affordable coverage. Biden claims this framework will be the largest expansion of healthcare since the ACA was implemented. The framework will reduce premiums for 9 million Americans who buy insurance through the Affordable Care Act by $600 per person per year. If a family of four earns $80,000 a year, then they will save roughly $3,000 per year on health insurance premiums. It's predicted that over 3 million people who were uninsured will obtain health insurance if this is put in place. Additionally, the framework will close the Medicaid coverage gap, leaving 4 million uninsured people to gain coverage. It will deliver health care coverage through Affordable Care Act premium tax credits to around 4 million uninsured people living in the states that locked them out of Medicaid. For example, a 40-year-old man in the coverage gap would pay $450 a month for benchmark coverage, but individuals will be provided with $0 premiums, and thus making healthcare affordable and accessible to many. The framework will expand Medicare to cover hearing benefits. Only 30% of seniors who need hearing aids actually use them or buy them. So the framework will expand Medicare to cover hearing services. It's great because hearing aids are extremely expensive, and after this benefit, these individuals will have access to affordable ones. Overall, this framework will be highly beneficial to people who lack health insurance or are struggling to afford it. It's going to be inexpensive, very accessible, and it will improve the nation's healthcare system. Thank you.
Strengthening the middle class, the most significant effort to bring down the cost in the middle class in generations to come is by making the single largest, most comprehensive investment in affordable housing in history. It will be easier for a first-time buyer to qualify to purchase their home. How exciting is that? Extend the expanded earned income tax credit. This will benefit over 17 million low-income childless workers. People who earn $9 an hour and work 30 hours a week will be able to keep at least 1,100 more of their paycheck. Expanding to affordable, high-quality education beyond high school. This will increase the Pell Grant by 550 for more students enrolled in private and public colleges. It will provide access to trade schools to enable the training needed for union-based jobs. It will help a lot in underserved communities. Promote nutrition security to support children's health. Simply put, the government will expend free meals to more than 8.9 million students for the school year. And each month during the summer, all families will be provided with $65 to purchase food for students. Strengthen the middle class through historic investment in equality, safety, and fairness. It will help rural areas become better equipped to find locally led projects for improvements of surrounding rural areas. Help publish material, help invest in small businesses. This will help prepare for future pandemics and supply chain disruptions. It also includes $100 billion investment to improve our immigration systems. This will help more asylum and border processing more efficient and humane. The framework for this bill is to specifically stop large profitable corporations from paying zero in tax, and tax corporations that pay back stock rather than invest in the company. In 2019, most companies only paid 8% in taxes. President Joe Biden thinks this is unfair, so now they will have to pay 15% in taxes. So if a large corporation makes and reports making $1 billion, they will have to pay taxes on that money. Now, within this framework, large companies can no longer ship jobs and profit overseas. They will be taxed heavily, as well as not receiving any tax benefits for having companies overseas. The richest people in America, for example, multimillionaires and billionaires, will have to pay taxes on their wealth as well. The best part of this framework will be that if you don't make $400,000 a year, you will no longer pay federal tax or gas taxes. It will make it easier for the middle class to take care of their families and plan for a better future for American people.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm going to be talking about how the Biden's Build Back Better aims to combat climate change. When in the Biden's Build Back Better framework, he acknowledges that climate change has severely worsened recently and will continue to keep worsening if we stay on the same schedule. It has resulted in extreme consequences both for infrastructure and for people, oftentimes debilitating or destroying homes, schools, small businesses, and even taking the lives of people who cannot afford to thoroughly take care of themselves. It has even cost America more than $100 billion since 2020 to take care of, or I guess in effort to treat the symptoms of climate change and what it does to our people and our infrastructure, rather than taking care of it at the source of the problem. It delays our economic opportunity by doing this because we will no longer be able to proceed in the manufacturing race, the global manufacturing race, if we continue to focus on our other problems. Build Back Better also aims to cut climate pollution and reduce greenhouse gases by over 1 gigaton by the year 2030, and create climate smart practices among infrastructure. And this goes along all infrastructure, meaning buildings, transportation, agriculture, and electrification. In the process, the framework will create union jobs and domestic industry growth. Doing so, it will create union jobs by using American labor to create the infrastructure that is needed for electrification. And domestic industry will grow because we will be using only American-made materials to create our American infrastructure. My most important, or the most, I guess, important part of this bill that stuck out to me in the climate change aspect is ensuring that the middle class families will be able to switch over to clean energy in a cost-efficient way. They aim to save the energy, or save the average American family hundreds of dollars per year in energy costs. So if you ever look at your electricity bill after like summer or winter when it's incredibly hot or incredibly cold, you see that your electricity goes up a lot. But they want to make sure that these energy costs don't go up anymore for the average American family or for any other businesses. They will do this by expanding the existing home and energy efficiency tax credits and creating an electrification-focused rebate program. It hopes to reduce solar panel installation costs by 30%, and doing so, it shortens the payback period for those solar panels by about 5 years. Many times people complain about solar power or wind power or switching to more energy efficient ways being too cost heavy or too effortful, but by doing this, it'll make it easier for the average American family and middle class. It also reduces American-made electric vehicles by $12,500 for middle-class families, making it easier for them to switch over to electric vehicles as well, and not just for the middle-class families, but even lower-class families who find it difficult to switch to these methods.
Okay, so I'm going to be explaining how the bill pays for, because there's a lot of infrastructure that goes into it, and the first thing Republicans said when Biden came up with this thing is they said, well, how are you going to pay for it? And so he actually found a real clever way to pay for it. I'm sure he didn't do it, I'm sure he's got a big team, but anyway. So first things first, anybody that's making less than $400,000 a year, which is it's really probably 99% of the whole country, they're not gonna have to pay for this bill. Only people that are making over $400,000. And that makes perfect sense because quite frankly, they got the money to burn. So first thing that the bill does, it stops large profitable corporations from paying $0 in tax, and it also stops them from playing this game that they play where they buy back their stock at a lower price, which makes it, it's like an unfair competitive advantage considering that most stock traders are just individuals and they don't have these Enron level connections. So there's a 15% minimum tax on corporations that make over $1 billion, which it's kind of crazy that they haven't had that before because it comes out to less than $1 million, 15%. Anyway, number two, it stops rewarding corporations for outsourcing jobs. So like for example, China, where labor is really cheap, a lot of American companies will have their goods built over there, which that's good for China, but honestly, American businesses should be rewarded for supporting other American businesses, and that's how we keep the money flowing here. So number three, it also asks, the Build Back Better framework includes a new surtax on multimillionaires and billionaires, which make up for the wealthiest 0.2% of the whole country. Nowhere near even 1%. So it applies a 5% rate if you make over $10 million per year, which isn't that much at all. And it's like a bee sting. And and then an additional 3% if you make $25 million per year. So if you're like Leonardo DiCaprio, it's gonna cost you like a Lamborghini, okay? But you'll live. Number four, invest in the overhauling of tax administration. So if you look, a lot of our machines are from like the 80s and the 90s, and it makes the whole process, and it makes accounting for people twice as hard. Because if you can imagine, if we have like high-tech stuff in every IRS building, it'd be very easy to find out who's cheating, who's not. It'd also be very easy to incentivize individual employees to investigate these things. So regular workers, it's been well documented, they pay taxes at a 99% honesty rate. Whereas foreign corporations, they have expensive staffs of lawyers and they're able to kind of play the game. So lastly, that's everything for me. All right, thank you. Yeah.
In conclusion, the Biden's Build Back Better framework will expand affordable healthcare, strengthen the middle class, and combat climate change, and aims to fully pay for historic investments. It wants to do this all while considering the average American and how much the cost will change. A cost of change will outweigh the cost of the current methods that we are using. While this change is often a really big cost, it is worth it to create a more equal care system, safety nets, energy, and taxes for all. That's it.